So introduction to a data model. In this module we have seen what is data and how to create an object, what are the standard objects, what are the custom objects, and what are the standard fields available, and how to customize a standard object, and how to add custom fields to a standard object or to a custom object, and what are the attributes that are available for a field. Next we will see what is encryption. So many of the industries, like especially the financial industry, requires you to encrypt a field which is in the database. So you have to choose the field to be encrypted at the database level, so it's not compromised on security basis, like typically credit card number. So for that, Salesforce provides two types of options here. One is creating a text encrypted field. So it gives you the option to encrypt. For example, let's call this a credit card number. Length of 20, match, and mask type. What do you mean by mask type is whether you want to mask all characters from not being visible to the users. So encryption, what it does is when you enter a 16-digit credit card number, it changes the field visibility to masks like asterisks. So there is a permission in profiles which is called visible view encrypted data permission. So that permission needs to be enabled on the profiles. We'll much come into that concept of profiles in the security module of this course. But users who is having the view encrypted data permission can view the encrypted data. If they are not having the view encrypted data permission, they will see the data as asterisks. So what this is asking is, do you want to mask all characters, that is replace all things by asterisks, so that our last 4 characters are clear, or it's a typically credit card number format or a national insurance number. So it will have, you can choose the format how you want to do this. So whether you want to replace by X's or asterisk. So if it's a national insurance number, everything will be masked like this. It's a credit card number, last 4 digits are clearly visible. Social insurance number, or you can choose any of these options. Seeing the example here. So this is one option to encrypt the fields, that is called classic encryption on Salesforce. Salesforce has recently launched something called as Salesforce Shield, which is platform encryption. So platform encryption, though it's out of scope of this course to be covered in a broad way, but what it gives you is, it gives you the ability to encrypt at a platform level, at environment level, the data in your organization on the standard fields and the standard objects, and the custom objects, basically accounts, contacts, and everything. So you can it depends on what is the actual requirement, your business requirement. So if it's just a field, you can go for the classic encryption, but you want to use it at a bigger level, you can go for platform encryption. So let's see some questions before we move to the other topics in the data model. An object in Salesforce is similar to database entity which provides fields for holding data in Salesforce. So what this question is saying is, an object in Salesforce is similar to a database entity which provides fields for holding data in Salesforce. Yes, that's true. Objects in Salesforce are similar to database tables. Sorry, that's true. which of this is not a standard object in Salesforce? So in typical CRM process, we have seen we have accounts, we don't have customers. Accounts and customers are typically the same. You track all your business customers as accounts. You have leads, the people who are interested in your products. You have opportunities, which are revenue generating, like the number of products you are selling to a customer. You have cases where you track issues on the products with your customers. So customers is not a database standard entity in a CRM process. This brings us to the next topic of this course. Now we have seen how we determine how to create objects in database in Salesforce. But how do you create relationship between objects in Salesforce? So Salesforce gives you two options to create relationships between objects. So let us go to the custom object KYC process which we have created. Let me type in object in quick find. Let's go to objects. Okay, find the KYC process and let me click on new. So defining a relationship is like creating a new field on the child object. So you'll select basically between two relationships, either it is lookup or master detail. So lookup relationship creates a relationship that links two objects, or master detail creates a relationship that links two objects. So what does this typically mean? What is the difference between a master detail and a lookup? The maximum number of fields that are allowed on an object master detail relationships are 2. So an object can have only 2 masters, but whereas lookup relationships you can create 25 between the other objects. Parent is mandatory. So any child record, when you are entering, if you create on any child object, if you create a master detail relationship, when you are entering a record into the child object, the parent is mandatory, but the parent is not mandatory in a lookup relationship. What does this tell is, if a master is deleted after you enter the data, for example, you delete accounts, the incidents associated with that account are deleted. So its parent is mandatory for the child to survive, but it's not true in the case of lookup relationship. Owner of the parent determines the security details of the records. So typically what happens when you create a master detail relationship is you don't have a owner field on the child record. What does this says is the owner of the master is treated as the owner of the children. So owner plays a significant role when calculating the security algorithms. You will see it much deeper when we go to the security module of this course. But what this typically means is master detail relationship, master controls the access to the child records. Parent and child records have independent security in lookup relationship. So you will have owner field both on parent and on child. So parent and child both have independent owners, independent access levels, everything. So standard objects cannot be detailed side of a custom object as master. So you cannot create a custom object as a parent or a master to a custom standard object. So what does this mean is you cannot create a standard object on the detailed side of the custom object as master, and users and leads cannot be the master side as well. So you cannot create a master details relationship at all on the user and lead objects. Lookups can be created on standard objects.